Hey there, friends. I am so excited to tell you about something I've been working on just for you. It's called Illuminate You Collective. This is my brand new 8-week group coaching experience designed for women who are ready to step into their strengths, uncover their unique superpowers, and truly embrace their potential. Imagine this, a place where you can gain crystal clarity on what makes you you while surrounded by a group of incredible women on the same path. Together, we're going to dive deep with the tools that bring out your resilience, reveal your unique decision-making style, create your energy management plan, and help you build a progress over perfection plan for both life and business. Each week, we'll come together in an empowering group coaching session where you'll feel seen, supported, and celebrated. Plus, you'll get your own pro scan assessment. Y'all, I've been trying to get this in the hands of every single person, and this is your opportunity. This will help you to understand your strengths and your stressors like never before. You'll be able to make choices with confidence, handle challenges with grace, and grow in ways you never thought possible. So if you're feeling that nudge, if you're ready to invest in yourself and really take things to the next level, this is your moment, friends. So join me and an amazing group of women in Illuminate You Collective. Let's light up your path together. Now, spaces are limited, so don't wait. Head to martinwilliams.com/collective to grab your spot. And I can't wait to see you there and to help you to step fully into your potential. Let's do this together. Welcome to the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast, where you will learn simple solutions to win at work without losing at home. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I am your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business by elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl, to procrastinating on your goals and living in overwhelm. And it's time to say hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits so that you can achieve work-life harmony. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast. Let's do this. Hey friends, and welcome back to the podcast and to part 2 of our interview with Turquoise Talk guest, Jennie Ketcham Crooks. This part, we're going to be talking about and diving into what does a 30-day challenge look like when it comes to your digital lifestyle. And since we are in November, I want you to be thinking about, is this one of the things that could help you in creating more space, more time, more yeses? Maybe your no needs to be no to my phone for 30 days, or maybe no to my phone for a certain period of time. And before you totally click out of this episode, I want you to listen to what she has to offer here, what the challenge rules are and could look like. It doesn't have to be as brutal as never picking up your phone for 30 days, but go into this episode with an open mind, an open heart, and with the thoughts around saying no. All right, let's dive in. So let's talk briefly just about this 30-day challenge. Like, how does it unfold? What are the rules for those that are listening? They're like, I heard you mention this, but what is it? Can you tell us a little bit about it? Yeah.
Yeah, you bet. So I'll dispel any worry or concern right now. It's not 30 days without your phone, right?
Okay.
I'm not a monster. I'm not unrealistic. This is a harm reduction is what we're going for, right? It is a gradual reduction in hours. And there are 2 days at the very end where you don't touch your phone at all, but that's 2 days out of 30. And by then you'll have built up quite a bit of other skills to use so that you don't have to turn toward your phone. So in the challenge, we practice different skills every single day that will help you come off autopilot, that'll help you address some of the distorted beliefs you likely have about your phone, that'll help you manage some of the distress that you feel without your phone, and that'll help clarify your values to move you along this path a little bit more easily. And so each day there's a writing exercise. Each day there's a change activity that is all grounded in behavioral psychology and years and years of research. So it's all evidence-based practices. And over the 30 days, you go from using your phone and trying to decide when not to use your phone and choosing to avoid it. And then it pivots into deciding when to use your phone and how to make it meaningful. Right. And so it is really based around this idea that change happens over time.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're not going to do the challenge, flip a switch, and then you're good to go. It's little curious things. It's little gentle movements. It's a look this way instead of that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
It offers a really gentle and gradual approach to this bigger sustainable behavioral change. And at the end, there's some response prevention and some relapse prevention, right? Because it is our brains are just designed to be hooked by these things. And these things were designed by people that hook brains, right? Like it was designed by a bunch of like brilliant engineers and brilliant psychologists.
Mm-hmm.
And so they work very well to hook us in.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll get hooked in again as we use it. That's just how it is. And if we want to use it in a way that's moderated, we have to be a lot more intentional. So the 30-day challenge, it's really just about creating small, sustainable behavioral changes over an extended period of time so that you can have the kind of relationship that you want to have with this thing.
Yeah. I love that you brought up over time, because I do think and little steps to get there, because it feels so big, in our brain, whatever any goal does or challenge. And that's why I feel like a lot of people don't even take the first step, because it's so big and it feels so hard and it's a challenge. So if it's going to be challenging, it's like going ahead and setting your mind to, this is a challenge. It's going to be challenging. I'm not going to be surprised if I get challenged. Yeah. Right. It's just accepting that. But I do think I love that you're bringing it into, okay, these are the steps. They're going to be small and it's going to be over time. Like you didn't get to where you are overnight, and it's not going to be undone overnight. And maybe, in the full 30 days, there's a maintenance phase, I'm sure, of this. So is it like daily prompts? Is it, tell me logistically, like people are going to probably want to go sign up. So let's talk about that. And then what does it actually look like? Is it a live challenge where people are doing it with you, or is it pre-recorded? Kind of give me some of those details too.
Yeah. So the challenge is actually in the book. So you buy the book and you can start the challenge anytime you want. So there's a whole prep section that helps you prepare for the challenge. There's some emotional preparation work. There's some utilitarian preparation work. There's some practical stuff, right? Like notifying people in your life that you're taking on this challenge and that you might not be responding as quickly as you normally do, right? So sort of some people preparation. So you buy the book, you do the preparation work, and then you pick a day. Any big behavioral change, it is helpful in terms of motivation and commitment to actually choose the first day. So say you want to do it as like a dry January. Again, you're not going 30 days without your phone, but say you want to do it as like a New Year's challenge or like a birthday challenge, or you want to take the challenge for Lent, right? You pick a day that's meaningful to you to start the challenge. And it's structurally, there's a little bit of psychoeducation for each day. There's description of what the change activity is, and I'll give you a couple of examples of change activities. There's some reflections, like some reading and some writing prompts to help you really think through. And then there's always a values clarification question, right? Like, what is the North Star in your sky? Like, what makes you come back to this? Why are you willing to take on this challenge? What are you moving toward that's really important to you?
Yeah.
And then you spend the day integrating the little change strategy. And then in the evening, you come back and there's some more reflective writing there as well. And collectively, I mean, I think at most it's an hour a day, but those are if you're really like going hard on the writing prompts, or if you're doing a day where there are guided meditations, because there are guided meditations in it, it might be a little bit longer. But most days it's really only about a 20-minute ask for the day.
Right.
And realistically, if you look at how much time you're spending on your phone, you could probably easily cut 20 minutes out of it and redirect it towards doing a challenge. So some of the activities, some of the change activities that I think are really fun and interesting One is called point and call. So in Japan, train conductors have this safety measure called point and call. And what they do is they go through all of their actions by dictating it out loud, saying out loud the things that they're doing as they're doing them, right? And what we see is that it reduces the amount of errors that Japanese train conductors make. It's this like brilliant mindfulness strategy. So we're going to apply that to your phone. So for a whole day, you are narrating what you're doing with your phone. Jenny's picking up her phone. She is looking at the screen. She's scrolling. She has realized that is still scrolling. She's going to put the phone down. Jenny's putting the phone down right there. It's a little obnoxious, and you will be a little bit annoyed by yourself at the end of the day, maybe at the beginning of the day. And you might notice some aversion to even doing it, right? And like, what a curious response, right? Because my sense is that most of us don't actually want other people knowing what we're doing in the phone all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Which is kind of curious in and of itself.
Right. Yeah.
Another great change strategy that's in there is it's a functional analysis of the behavior, right? So I have a bunch of different prompts that allow you to walk through some of the things that you use your phone for to determine what the actual function is, right? Is it avoidance? Are you actually moving towards something that you care about deeply? So that's a little bit of where we can start to tease out what are the things that we can let go of when it comes to using the phone, and where can you maybe spend more time using this? Where is it a meaningful thing for you? Because it is both, right?
Yeah, right.
They both happen in there. I have a whole week's worth of mindfulness and pre-recorded meditations that you do. Some are based around self-compassion, some are exposures. There's one meditation where you actually go through the movements, like you think about using your phone and you get to experience how powerful your mind is, but you imagine using your phone and you get to feel the feelings, like the sensations of using your phone without actually having that content sort of streaming into your brain. But it starts to happen. Like even if you were to close your eyes right now, and if you're driving, don't do that. But if you close your eyes right now and sort of hold your hand like you hold your phone and you use your finger to scroll and you just notice what your body does, all of those memories are in there and it all starts to come up and it feels like it feels when you're using your phone.
Yeah.
Right. Which is this really wild, powerful thing that brain can do. And so there's, again, and you're not doing all of these every single day. You spend one day narrating and then the next day is a different activity. And then, right. So the entire premise of the challenge is to build psychological flexibility, right? Which means you're going to leave this challenge with 30 days worth of skills, a full toolbox, right? You can pick and choose what you like. You can pick and choose what works for you, what was compelling to you. Leave the things that don't work. It doesn't matter, right?
Right. Yeah.
And also, I think it's really helpful to know going into it that there will be days where you don't do it, where you're like, you check out. And so then, like we talked about earlier, the key is to come back, right? Because that's where your resilience is built. That's where your grit is bit. That's where the muscle happens, right? And so we want you to have the opportunity to fail. That's totally okay. Yeah. And we provide you with the space to do so, like we being me in the book, we provide, and Brenda, because she's always involved. We provide you with like the kindness that like, this is like, you're going to fail sometimes at this. You're not going to do it perfectly. That's okay. Like what might we change tomorrow to better align our day with making this in our lives?
Yeah. Have you started to get in the mail those holiday guides with like the top 100 gifts? I got one from, I think it was Target the other day. Have you started to get those in the mail? Well, I have something special for you to help you to design your holidays with intention and without regrets. Now's the time to start preparing and planning for the holiday that you want for you and your family. So in honor of November, I put together my Stress Less Holiday Guide. So go to martinewilliams.com/stressless and go grab that guide. The link is in the show notes too. Don't just go to it, print it off, and design the holidays that you want. I love that you brought up the being kind, because I do think that's part of why we don't even enter into challenges, is we're so afraid of how we're going to speak to ourselves, and we're not going to show the same compassion you would give to your child who's learning to walk and falls. You don't tell them, oh, you're such a loser, you should already know how to walk. No, we're like, let's get back up, buddy. And you pick them up and you help them take their next step. But we don't show that same compassion to ourselves as we're trying to learn or unlearn some behaviors. So I love that you brought that piece up, because I do think that's important when you're thinking about setting goals and these challenges that you're going through, or if you're going to do the 30-day challenges, how can you go ahead and set yourself up to speak kindly to yourself when you wake up one of the days of the 30 and you're like, nope, I'm grabbing my phone. It's probably going to happen. It's okay. Because the next 30 days, you might go the whole 30 days. It's not a one and done, I'm assuming. I mean, it's a process, right?
Yeah. It's a process, and it is one that you will have an easier time coming back to if you can practice kindness. And so that kindness is actually baked into a lot of the reflections, right? And it's baked into like, did something you do today not work very well for you?
Yeah.
Or where did you struggle with this today, right? And so really learning how to be kind to yourself. And I love this idea of like unlearning behavior, because being unkind to ourselves is this learned behavior, right?
Yeah.
I know that for me, I have used it as a motivator, right? As a perfectionist, I'm like, oh, well, if I am not brutal to myself, how will I ever get ahead?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
well, that's such an interesting belief, not necessarily one that I have to hold on to or invest my money into, right? Like, I don't think that's going to pay off at the end, right? It certainly hurts in the meantime, right?
Yeah.
But what happens if I start to turn to myself with kindness instead of with that like brutal sense of like, you're a failure? I mean, like I said, that's one of the reasons why I started my business, because I said, I am so terrified of doing this. I'm pretty sure that I either need an MBA or a PhD in order to be good enough. And so I'm going to see if I can just do it with the master's degree that I have, because maybe I don't need to sign up for 7 more years of school to be good enough to do this thing, right? Like that sort of like unkindness shows up in these really quiet ways.
Yeah.
Right. And so the challenge really does offer you an opportunity to do it imperfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell everyone what the name of the book is and where they can find more information about you and the work that you're doing.
Yeah, you bet. So you can buy the book on Amazon. It's called Look Up. It's the 30-day path to digital minimalism and real life maximalism. And you can hit me up on Instagram. I'm at Becoming Jennie. And if you are needing some help with anxiety or OCD, you can also hit me up at my group practice, westcoastanxiety.com.
Yeah. That's another whole topic, right? That we didn't even really talk about anxiety, but that's a whole podcast in and of itself.
There it is.
Yeah, it's there. It's always there lurking. So, well, again, you're so easy to talk to, and we could talk for another couple hours, but I want to honor your time. And I just really appreciate you coming on. We'll put the links to everything in the show notes for people to go and grab the book and learn more about what you're doing. But thank you for just being so honest and vulnerable and sharing your story and sharing the work that you're doing to impact people in this very important way.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And I hope that this is a helpful thing for some of the mompreneurs that are listening and they're willing to take the challenge. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. One last question before we wrap up that I was thinking about, and Brenda turned off and now she's turned back on.
Yeah. Hey, Brenda. Hey, girl. She clogged back in.
Welcome back.
Sorry. She will unleash her fury later after this.
Oh my gosh. I was thinking as you were talking, is this a challenge that people do like with their kids that maybe they want to help establish some new habits? Or do you feel like you go first and then you bring the kids along? Like, tell me what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you have kids who are, there are some abstract concepts. So your kids developmentally will need to be a certain age if they're going to take this on. But if they're 12, 13 and over, they can for sure take the challenge with you. You can work it into a family experiment. I'm in the process of writing a family edition that also gears towards younger kids, but there's no reason that you can't adapt this and have it be a conversation piece at dinner time or something that you all sort of unpack together and go through it together. It can be a really beautiful shared experience.
Yeah. You're going to have to insert some, because I have teenagers. So you're going to have to insert something in there with, what do you do when they give you the eye roll? When you're like, hey, let's do this fun challenge. And they're like, eye roll, insert the biggest eye roll ever.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It will be there. And we will have strategies for coercing family members to do this and to take it on. And those family members are teenagers. The smaller kids are going to be like, yeah, whatever. Let's go. Let's go. But the teens, they will likely hate this. But there's a chance that it's really transformative for the whole family to do it together. So I love that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you could leave the listeners with just one main thing that you would want all mompreneurs to kind of know, whether it's about the mompreneur journey or whether it's about this idea of, digital overload or the psychological flexibility, like what's one thing you would like to leave the listeners with? Come on, Brenda.
I know. Well, I was going to say something about Brenda, and then she was like, "Don't you dare talk about me." I think there's something really important about listening to the emotions that show up inside of you and doing your best to refrain from problem solving the emotions, right? The emotions are flags. So whatever you're feeling, if you're feeling anxious about starting a new business, if you feel afraid that you are missing out on time with your kids, if you feel, and these are all just personal examples, if you feel nervous that you're not doing a good enough job or that you're going to make a mistake, notice that. We don't need to solve the anxiety. You do need to do the thing that you're afraid of doing to learn what's going to happen. No amount of problem solving in your head is actually going to tell you what's going to happen. It can give you some probability, but the best course of action is forward, to approach, to go toward the thing that terrifies you. And as you go toward it, instead of looking just at the thing that terrifies you, look at your North Stars. What is really important to you in this? Independence and autonomy is hugely important to me. Being a mom that my girls grow up to admire, a woman that they grow up to admire, that's really important to me. And so when things are hard, when I am, 6 o'clock in the morning, pre-coffee, nothing is going to work today, the whole world is going to fail. I keep my eyes on my North Star. What would I want them to see me doing? Right? Like, how would I want them to see me respond to these feelings of despair and hopelessness that show up? I want them to see me do it anyway.
Yeah.
Even if I'm afraid, even if I'm nervous, even if I don't think I'm good enough, I want them to see me try.
Yeah. Love it.
And if I fail, okay.
Yeah.
Let's do something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Failing doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means what you just tried didn't work. And there's always another way to do it.
And you know what? So what if you failed at this? Be a failure and do something else.
Yeah.
Great. Failure, whatever. Like, the word is just, it is a piece of content. You don't have to pay attention to that either.
Ooh, I love that. Love that. Well, that's a great message to leave the listeners with. So thank you again so much for coming on the show. And I know they're going to be going and grabbing that book.
You're sweet. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. Thanks for the time.
All right, friends, we'll catch you on the next episode. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.